It is time for the Midlife Hockey Crisis Beer League podcast, brought to you by WinningSynthetics.com, your one-stop for all things Amsoil, and thehockeyarsenal.com. Now, here are your hosts, TJ Hollingsworth and Dangling Dave Dickerson. Take it away, boys.
And thank you, Kelly, for that rousing introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another exciting, action-packed, fun-filled episode of Midlife Hockey Crisis, the Beer League podcast, coming to you live from Central Indiana, live on tape or digital or whatever you call it these days. My name is TJ Hollingsworth, joined, as always, most of the time, and as far as you know, by the one and only, the Dangler, back in his living room, dangling Dave Dickerson. Dave, what's up?
Oh, what is up, my friends, and my friend that I'm talking to? Weird, I'm not looking at you, man.
I know, this is very bizarre.
Yeah, it's weird.
But this is two now we've done. We're trying some new technology out. We did this an episode earlier. What we are finding is with Dave's schedule, my schedule, sometimes a lot of times we're having problems getting in the same room in order to make these recordings. So I invested $34.99 in the iRig 2, which allows me to run the iPhone into the mixing board, and it sounds pretty darn good. We do our telephone interviews this way, and we've just been forced to have to do a couple of shows this way. I certainly prefer having you right here in front of me because you're kind of cute in a masculine way, and but this is going to be the next best thing because we go back, Dave, when we started talking about this back last summer. It was like, and we want to make sure we provide quality content, and we were trying to rush through some stuff, and it was just like kind of felt like that was not, that was in danger of not happening. So we're doing it this way. Is it working okay for you? You sound great. The audio sounds really
far
good.
Yeah. I hope that everybody can hear me. I am on my speakerphone. I took my headphones off. It was weird. I couldn't hear myself talk, which is always a good thing for me, but it was goofy. But hopefully this works out.
All right, friends. Well, hey, real quick before we get going, just want to touch on something, not trying to be Debbie Downer or anything, but just a few minutes ago, found out racer and associate of mine, somebody I had a personal relationship with, John Andretti, passed away after a battle with colon cancer. John did not have a colonoscopy. Less than a year ago, the kid that grew up across the street from me, kid, he's 56 years old, passed away from colon cancer, didn't have a colonoscopy. All right? You can't play rec league hockey, beer league hockey, if you're freaking dead. For God's sakes, go get a colonoscopy if your doctor's telling you to. It's the biggest non-event in the world. I know you've done it. We were just talking about that. I've done it. It's no big deal. And for crying out loud, it could save your life. All right? To me, one day with a little diarrhea is worth a life. That's just me. But get your colonoscopy for crying out loud. No excuses. All right, let's move on. Dave, you just got out of the hot tub. I know we're kind of sexing things up here a little bit.
Right. Let me turn down the lights, man.
Turn down the lights, get a couple of candles out. And how was your experience? How was the hot tub there at the gym?
It was fantastic. I was going to gripe for a second, and you guys probably that all hit the gym, you'll understand too. Doesn't matter if you go at 4 o'clock. Doesn't matter if you go at 2 a.m., 6:30 p.m. It does not matter. You will always have somebody crammed next to you in a locker room. My locker room, I go to the Giant Lifetime here. There's 7,000 lockers, and there's always that fella right next to you. And the thing about today is, man, I waited 10 minutes for this guy to get his crap out. He's right next to me. And as I'm walking over there, another guy on the other side of me. I'm like, ah!
You know,
hot tub was great.
You end up with this great 15,000 square foot gym, and everybody ends up in the same little 10 by 10 area trying to get dressed.
It doesn't matter. If you're, like I said, 4 in the morning, it happens. 2 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon, it doesn't matter.
Now, you belong to one of those high dollar gyms that has a sauna and a steam room, right?
Yeah, it's got a steam room,
I love steam rooms,
sauna, got some hot tubs and basketball courts and everything. We call it the Highlander training facility.
I keep forgetting to pick my key up for that. I've got to get involved in that. Here's my one thing. Here's what I've noticed. The gym I work out in. All right, we have a sauna. The nice wood benches. People go in there. They sit down. Do you have those people that like to go in and take their towel off? They're nude. They take their towel off and they sit their filthy, disgusting ass down on the wood.
Right. So we have the steam room in the men's locker room. Yeah, in there. Not the other one in public with the kids' pool and stuff, but a lot of confidence. I give them that.
With me, it's not the confidence. It's like, I don't need your filthy ass sitting where I'm going to be sitting, where I might put my hands down to, push myself up or whatever. For God's sakes, you want to hang your dong out, have at it, but sit on the damn towel, for crying out loud.
Yeah, it's super gross. It's super gross.
All right, that kind of leads us into something. I am on Reddit, and I go through this again. If you see me, my handle on Reddit is Midlife Karting Crisis. That is another page that I started several years ago when I started racing karts again, go-karts, and that's just kind of what I use for everything on Reddit. And I've been posting stuff on there just to kind of get some feedback from other hockey players, and this one blew up, at least by my standards. And my question, it was pretty simple. It said, your top 5 pet peeves from beer league players. Hey, gang, I'm compiling a list of things that other beer league players do to annoy the crap out of you. Let her rip. And boy, did they. They turned it loose.
It blew up, man.
I am telling you what, this if you got paid for this like you get paid on YouTube and everything, I made like $3 or $4 on this deal. And there's a bunch of them on here, and I'm just going to kind of go through these, the more entertaining ones, and we'll just kind of comment on a little bit. And if you've got one of these situations, hey, leave a comment about your pet peeves here on the review section for this podcast. We'd love to hear about it. But this is what probably is in everybody's top 5, and that's marathon shifts.
Yeah, I'm going along with you. Marathon shifts. I love the KR 580s. Like, what's wrong with marathon shifts? Absolutely screw you up, man. They not only. I mean, we all paid for the same amount of time here, and you got the. Man, it's real hard not to just unleash and cuss. But you got the fellow that sticks out there. Not only is he wrecking your line, he's screwing up everybody else's play. You're out there and. Yeah, I mean, we're all here to have fun. You don't need to be out there for 6 damn minutes. You're not effective either.
No.
You're either not skating your ass off or you're loafing it.
One of the two. For sure.
Get gas within 2 minutes. Get your ass back to the bench.
If you're not tired after a minute, you're not playing hard now, plain and simple. And the guys that come loafing back to the bench, again, because they're exhausted, that's because your ass was out there too long. I'm telling you, having played shorthanded, which you and I have had to do a lot of that this session. We, you may not have a full bench to where,
And you sound amazing.
I know I sound great, don't I? Sorry about that, team. I promise it is not coronavirus. I promise. But no,
Coors Light virus.
Coors Light. We're in Indiana. We say Coors. But yeah, just on the long shift thing, man. If you got a short bench, it is what it is. When you got a full bench, once or twice up and down the ice, you can count on that being around 60 to 90 seconds. And if it's not, if you've gone up and down the ice a couple of times in under a minute, you should be exhausted anyway. Get your butt off the ice. Your turn will come back around soon enough. There's nothing more frustrating, especially when you're the next guy up and everybody that went on the ice with that cat has already been off and maybe even another change before it, and you're still sitting there. Absolutely irritating as hell.
They're cycling through. You're still waiting, for X person. I'm not going to get too wordy because we all know guys on our teams. But get your ass back to the bench. Bust your ass for a minute and a half. Come back.
My favorite one is it happened last night. The guy that goes out there. All right, maybe you've only been on the ice for a minute, but there's a whistle and play stops. That's when you make a change. All right, that's when you change. Is when you're not going to be leaving, the possibility for an offside break. So you have the guy that stays on the ice. All right, he's going to stay out there. He takes a face off and then tears off to the bench.
Or we're everybody's down in the defensive zone. If I were to get scored on, and that's the deal that comes off. Like, change.
Yeah, better go. Better leave.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the big giant ones. I mean, I have one that oversees that, but I would say that's probably my biggest complaint is. We all want the same amount of time on the ice. Don't be the ass that's out there for 14 minutes.
Exactly. In the way it cycles through, everybody will get plenty of shifts. We've talked about that a ton. Another thing we've talked about too, and I'm not going to drill on this because you could do a whole episode on this and it'll never change. But guys that are playing, way below their actual abilities. You have these A and B players that want to drop down and play in D, which I just completely don't understand. I don't get it. It's like dunking on your 8-year-old kid. I don't know what thrill they get out of it, but it seems like every league has that one or two guys that are playing, in a league that they have no business being in.
Yeah, that's probably the number one thing on here, especially with on the Reddit post. But that's the thing I can't stand. We're in a league now that really there's nowhere else for those guys to go. Like they're playing on the weekdays. If they need to move up, they have to play on the weekends, which I understand not shifting and want to play with your buddies. You know, there's two parts to this. The asshole that comes in and plays his ass off and destroys the people that don't know how to play or the new guys. They skate it up, they dangle, they top shelf it. You know, what is that really bringing you? And then the other part of that is, you know, if you are a high level player and you're playing a lower level, just back the hell down. You know, the D League, at least in our league, or even C and the B guys come in, they're there to get better. They're there to have fun. Then you got the asshole who just makes you look stupid. You're not helping yourself out, your team, or the new guy that, man, I really want to learn this sport because
right.
You're making me look like a moron. You know, those are my two bitches. I mean, it's kind of all wrapped into one. And that's what we fight with here in some of our leagues, especially the one in, you know, the local one here. But yeah, you got the guys that skate it up, skate it down. And goddamn, your skills are amazing. You know, I know you're a great player. That's great. But when you make the folks that are a couple levels down just not have fun, waste their time, make them look like idiots, you know, that's when I have the problem with it.
You're preaching to the choir here. This is one I missed earlier, and I like this a lot because we ran into this on the team I play on last night. This is from I'm Dog. He said, it's an unpopular opinion, but people who don't take it serious enough and make fun of people for trying. He said, sure, having fun is the most important part, but I also play to get some of the competitive energy out of my system. I wholeheartedly agree with that. There are certainly people that take, you know, playing hard to the extreme, but when you have people that show up to play that just don't care and are not putting any effort out, that drives me nuts. Yeah, we had a little bit of that last night, or at least somebody said, you know, I just have a hard time giving a shit when I come here and play. And I was like, then why are you here? Why are you showing up? Because, you know, person got scored on because they weren't making any effort to try very hard. And I get it. You're tired, you're worn out, but, you know, then skate a super short shift and get off the ice. Right. I totally get it.
Yeah, we had one of those guys on our tournament team last year. The guy was just kind of, I don't want to be here. I got better places to be. You know what? Pissed off. You're not on the team anymore, so we dumped him off the team.
You know, I get it. It's recreational league, but again, this is a team sport. And I go back to that, you know, you've heard me say this on other episodes. When you agree to be part of a team, I think there's some minimum responsibilities. I think giving your best effort each time is one of those minimum responsibilities, regardless of your skill level. Yeah, I totally get that. I'm in your camp on that one. Well,
right. You know, I agree with him too. I was reading that earlier that, you know, definitely want to try. You don't want to be an asswipe, but definitely want to go out there and try because what's the point? You know, go play with a balloon in your backyard.
Yeah, agreed. 100%. Here's one. The guy who pushes the limits, tries to straddle the line on what's legal and not, gets chippy when the ref's back is turned, throws elbows on face-offs. We've run into this. You and I, we've talked about a couple players that are in our league. One of them happens to be on my team this time. I didn't know it until last night. It was the first week he showed up. But yeah, there are some people that take that competitive thing to the extreme. Which I think is too far to go on that. You know, we're playing D League. You're playing with a guy that's reffing, that's also, you know, teaching and training, and you start complaining about calls. It's one thing to do it, you know, with a smile on your face and kind of kidding, but to stand there from the bench and argue with a referee over a call in a D League game, dude, sit down, shut up. You're not good enough to be that mad at anything, or you wouldn't be playing D League in the first place.
Right, we got, you know, in Carmel, we've got Jordy, who he makes it damn clear. He's like, guys, I'm not a ref. I'm here to kind of oversee the game, so don't bitch at me, which I understand. You know, and over here at Fishers, we got a guy who refs. He's the ref, but the dude's a friend, you know, and people just dogging on him. You know, he's one damn guy. He can't see all the plays. You know, we give him a hard time once in a while, but all in fun for the most part, you know, because he's out there. Chances are he's not getting paid for this. He's out there skating around. He got a free pass in the league. Like, leave him the hell alone. He's going to make shitty calls. He's going to make good calls.
Well, let's be real. At that level, if they called everything, you'd be there all night trying to finish a game. Thank God the clock is running, but everybody at some place probably could get a hooking penalty or an interference penalty. You know, there's all kinds of things. If you know, be careful what you ask for, because you want to start officiating these games properly. I think you're going to find out that it's going to be a long, uneventful, unfun night.
It'd be 4 a.m. if he's making every call.
Oh,
I see. I'm looking at Benny the Bender. He put several good ones. But
he's pretty good about hitting on our threads with some good stuff. What's he say?
Yeah, the one that really sticks out: people slamming their sticks in frustration. I'm right there with you, man. We had a guy on our team last. I keep wanting to say semester because I'm in the school mindset, but last session. And it was a shitty play. Somebody passed up the middle, might even been me, and then we got scored on. Like, it's a F&D league game. He took his $250 stick and slammed it on the goal, on the net, and broke it in half. I'm like, it's a $250 stick on a shitty goal that means absolutely nothing. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff, I can see some frustration, but my God.
It just ruins the mood on the bench, too, because everybody's like, damn, what's up with this guy?
Right.
Nobody wants to talk to him.
You don't want to be around him anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be that guy. It's one thing to get frustrated at yourself, and I get that. Everybody does. But at some point, you got to, number one, there's other people around here. Don't be an asshole. It just makes nobody want to be around you, period, at all. And I go back to that other thing again. You're not good enough to be that mad.
Right. And there's some good ones on here.
I like this one. This is by Itbox Pixel. It's Bot Pixel. That's interesting. He's a goaltender. He says, "Don't deke me in warm up. Save it for the game. Shoot it at my pads or even at my chest." I kind of like that. I just try to be. I don't have it. I've got maybe one. I wouldn't even call it a deke. I call it just maybe a misdirection. I don't have that in my game yet. And the last thing I want to do is show it to the goaltender, because in our league, even the goaltender that's defending your goal in the first period, at some point you're going to be shooting at him because we switch goaltenders. What little tiny bit of a move I have, I sure don't want to show it to him in warm-ups.
Right, he needs to get warm. You need to fire some stuff at him. And I took that one to heart today. We did stick and puck, which turned into a game, but the goalie's out there trying to get warm, and you're out there dangling. Like, the goalie's going to just say, F you.
He's just going to sit there and go ahead, knock yourself out.
During the game all day long. Try to get him all day long. That's great, but when you're just sitting there trying to warm him up, don't make him look like an asshole.
All right, and you're not in your – and he's, like I said, he's not even going to try and stop you anyway. So, again, all you did was show him what you got, and when you're going to be shooting on him, boom, you've already wasted your moves on him. So,
right, I've got one that sticks out, and I think it's on here somewhere. But we're all there to play. We're all there. We're on the same effing team. We don't have a coach. We don't have the guy in the derby hat with the suit. Don't talk shit to your teammates. I can't remember who was on here. I was sitting there scrolling through, like, hey, man, if they want feedback, I'll ask for it, or at least ask them for feedback.
Say, hey,
like, hey, man, are you cool if I give you a tip? Yeah, because when Jerry comes back on the ice and you're just, hey, man, that was a shit pass, make sure you don't do that. Jerry's probably going to pop you in the mouth. We don't have a coach. We don't have an athletic trainer there. We don't have a skills coach. None of that shit. We're there to have a good time. And if you want to talk off the ice or talk, hey, let me give you a little tip. Are you cool with that? Be polite to your damn teammates, because when you go out there and coach and dog them and, hey, man, I could have had a pass right there, go F yourself. Nobody wants that shit. This is a cursed episode, man. This was a heated one. I think we should revisit this one on the next one, because this is a good topic.
This might be some. I just didn't even add anything off my list just because all these were so good, and I did want to hear from get some outside information on this. But these are all things just to think about, and I'm afraid in our microwave society these days, we see things on that get attention, and of course that's going to be people being stupid on the ice in the NHL, or excuse me, during international play, and that's what gets attention. That's what makes highlights. Hold on.
I think there's one on here.
Go ahead. I just forget that thought. I was talking myself in the corner anyway.
I was parking for you. So, Work Lurker, who was on here. This is actually pretty interesting. So, Adult Rec League in my area puts a 3-goal max limit on all players to help mitigate this, if I remember correctly. So the 4th goal doesn't count, 5th goal gets you a penalty shot and doesn't count. Like, that's pretty awesome, man. That'll tame the silent assassins.
No kidding. I like that a lot. It's one of those things that now you have to have somebody that's keeping score, which a lot of rec leagues don't have that. Like last night, we didn't even have a scorekeeper. Somebody from one bench or the other had to go over and run the scoreboard, which will happen. But if you have, if your league has the manpower, to do that. That's a great idea because that right there cuts down on all the crap. I go back and forth on, the skilled players that stay down. Well, I'm just going to help work with these guys. And the reason I say that is because when they're on the ice, that means there's one less experienced player that's not getting that ice time.
Right.
I understand what they're saying, and you could certainly make a good point for either way. I just go back to, with ice time being the most important thing for a new player, even though you're playing at half speed, the fact of the matter is, if you have the puck, there's nobody on our team defensively that can take it from you if you don't let them, which you're not going to do. So there's somebody there that's not getting, the experience of defending somebody, at their own level. But yeah, penalizing people for that fourth and fifth goal, that's solid. I like that.
I think that's fantastic. Yeah. Three, okay, you're getting 3 in a game. Jesus, you need to start moving up. But yeah, when you're getting 4, 5, well, in Carmel, we've got this, and I hope it doesn't center around who it is, but we've got one guy who says I've never played, but he grew up playing pond hockey, which you're still incredibly good.
Right.
Plays defense, takes it up every time, and rips it on goal. And sometimes he gets it, sometimes he doesn't. That's the type of stuff that drives me nuts, because you've got 4 other guys on that ice that aren't getting a pass, that aren't getting the experience, that aren't getting anything, any chance to play, because you're the dickwad that takes it all the way up and plays super selfish. I think you know who I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
But that's on every league. Every league on every team probably has one of those guys that I'll play back, and you just take it up every time. And you just F everybody else.
But speaking of, as we're wrapping things up, we hit a new country with our listenership. We have now been downloaded in the Czech Republic. And welcome. Glad to have you on board. My goal was to try to learn how to say hello in Czech. And when I pulled that up in Google Translator, ain't going to happen, folks. Sorry. Was just way too many consonants run together, not enough vowels for my poorly educated brain. But if you're in the Czech Republic, if you're listening, obviously you must speak English. If you'd like to send that to me, you can jump over onto Instagram or Facebook, drop me a audio message. I'd love to listen to it and learn how to say hello and thanks for listening in Czech. But we're worldwide now. I feel kind of like Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide.
I'm shaving my head. I'm going to get a white suit. We're going to move on. Yeah.
Excellent. But hey, gang, once again, the folks from Hockey Arsenal, Andy Oman, has been kind enough to give us a jealousy stick to give away. And what we've decided to do is, once we reach 250 followers or subscribers on iTunes, we're going to put all those names into a digital hat, do a digital random drawing, and give away a real Hockey Arsenal jealousy stick. Now, Dave, real quick, you've been using the stick. You've scored more goals with it than I have. I would like to hear your elevator speech on the jealousy. This is completely on the fly. I didn't warn you about this, so I'm stalling here for a second to let you think of something. Ready? Go.
Oh, shiza. You know what? It's a pro level stick at beer level price. I mean, that's kind of it.
$179.
You have been listening to the Midlife Hockey Crisis podcast. We'll see you next period.